Happy homecoming, Hawkeyes! Woo! We are so excited that you're here, and we've got a special program for you tonight. I don't really need to introduce these three, do I? Yeah, but I'm going to, briefly, okay? Briefly. On my far right, your far left, is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin is the best college athlete, let's just say, in the country. Men or women, right? Yeah. Caitlin just won the Sullivan Award, which is the top award for amateur sports. And, you know, I just have to point something out tonight. Caitlin and I share something. I cannot shoot a basketball at all, but I am the 22nd president, and what number does Caitlin wear? Yeah. So, check out my shoes. Yeah! 22. Next to Caitlin, also doesn't need any introductions, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen is the face of ESPN, I think. Don't you agree? And I want to tell you this morning, he ran his show live on this campus down in Adler Hall with all of our journalism and mass comm students. And he held up a Hawkeye t-shirt on national television. And look what he's wearing. He thinks it's a little cold here, but he loves our warm kindness. So show him a big support tonight. And last but not least, Mark Shapiro, Mark is an alum of the University of Iowa, 1992, Comm Studies. How many Comm Studies majors do we have out there? All right, yeah. Mark has a long and an illustrious career in media entertainment. He worked at ESPN, then he did a little thing at Six Flags, and now he's the president and COO of a large media and sports and fashion company called Endeavor. And we have Mark to thank for having Stephen here and having Caitlin here and for this program. So Mark, take it away.
All right, thank you, President Wilson. First of all, great to see everybody out here. Great to see this Hawkeye spirit. Let's go. Let's go. As far as the eye can see, greatest school on the map. On the map. And our academics are great. Our sports are great. The arts are great, the writing is great, but it's the people that are great here. The spirit and the heart. And we're just so proud and privileged to be here, and I'm honored to be up with these two very special people who are leaving their imprint all over the world of culture these days. Thank you. So, now our master of ceremonies today is not going to be me. It's going to be Mr. Stephen A. Smith. And when I asked him if he would come out here to be a part of our special homecoming, wasn't even a hesitation, because of two words, Caitlin Clark. So with that and all the love we're feeling out here, I'm going to let Stephen kick it off and get to some interviewing, which he does so well with Caitlin.
Well, first of all, what's up, everybody? What's up? We all know I'm many things, but I ain't a liar. This lady right here, Caitlin Clark, is my favorite college basketball player in the world. She is something special. And Caitlin, I'm just gonna start because they wanna hear from you, obviously. You know, it's when you see this crowd out here, knowing they're out here for you, what does it feel like for you to be a part of this and to be such a leading voice and face on this campus?
Yeah, that's the reason I came here, is because of crowds like this. So thank you guys for coming. Maybe if it's not for me, it's for Stephen A., the man. But no, that's why I chose Iowa, but also I'm an Iowa kid. I grew up here. I grew up rooting for the Hawkeyes. I grew up 2 hours from this place, so it's really special to me. And you know, my first year here was COVID, and it was really different, but now here I get to experience it with all of you. We're gonna play in front of 15,000 people every single game this year. Sold out crowd, yeah. 50,000 people for the crossover at Kinnick next Sunday, so students, I'm pretty sure you can still get tickets, so you better be there. Get us to 70,000, but no, it's for people like this, so.
You know, it's one thing for folks like myself, Mark, and this crowd obviously feeling that you're the best women's player in college basketball. Do you feel that you are the best right now?
I think any competitor is going to say that. You always believe in yourself. But also, I'm lucky enough to be at a school where Coach Bluter, our coach, lets me thrive. She lets me do what, you know, I do best, and that's one of the reasons I came here is, you know, I didn't want to play for a coach that was going to handcuff me and not let me be me. So I think that's one of the biggest things, but also the rest of the team that I play with, they let me be me too. You know, we had a group of 5 starters that were with each other for 3 years. That helps a lot too, but you know, my goal was to take this team to the Final Four, and then we reach our first ever national championship game, so that's not too bad. Not too bad.
When you say they let you be you, right now, who are you in your eyes? I'm talking about your game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your game.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing for me is I still feel like I have so much room to improve, and I think that's what's so exciting about it is, you know, I'm only 21 years old. I hope to have a really long pro career and be a really great player and be one of the best, but this has been my dream since I was a young kid, is to be in the spotlight like this, you know, get a scholarship to play basketball, and then hopefully play in the WNBA one day. That's always been my goal. That's what I want to do. And, you know, that's the coolest thing for me is I grew up watching players, whether it was Maya Moore, whether it's Steph Curry. Those are the people I always loved watching their game. The way they shoot the ball, I try to mimic that and try to be half as good. So it's fun for myself.
Well, obviously, when everybody looks at you, let's tell the world the worst kept secret. Whenever you do go to the WNBA, you're going to be the #1 overall pick. Let's just get out there. Let's just get that out of the way right now. There's nothing to talk about. That's nothing to talk about. But how hard is it going to be? Could you put in the words, even though the WNBA is your dream, how hard it's going to be for you to leave here, considering the level of success that you had last year and what I anticipate you'll have this year? Yeah,
absolutely. That'll be one of the hardest things is whether I decide to, you know, stay another year or this is my last year. But what do you guys think? No.
All right, let's embrace what we have right now. We have an amazing year coming up here. Let's get through that first, all right?
Yeah, let's focus on now. But no, I think that's the coolest thing is to see how, you know, this program has kind of evolved, and now we're sold out crowd. That's what we're playing in front of. Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league. So, you know, the more players, the better. But yeah, definitely will be a tough decision. But I feel like, you know, my time here has been absolutely incredible, and I know this year will be amazing in itself, so I'm just trying to enjoy that.
In all the years that I've been covering sports and all the great players and the great athletes that I've covered throughout my career, they've always taught me that failure is the recipe to success. Mm-hmm. Trials and tribulations come and go. Nothing's going to be easy sailing. There's always going to be some level of adversity. You guys went to the Final Four. You went to the national championship game, and then you lost to LSU. What did you learn from that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for myself learning is how hard it is to get there. there's 360 Division I basketball teams. It is really hard to get there. It's really hard. It's going to be really hard to get back there. So I think the biggest thing that I learned for myself is to enjoy every single moment. But when you're in the locker room at that end of the game, you're crying, you're upset. But I think the thing you realize, you're not upset. You're upset, but you lost. But you're most upset that your season's over and the girls that you did it with, you don't get to go back and practice with them the next day. And I think that just speaks to how close our team was and how much fun we had together. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is the year before we lose in the round of 32 to Creighton. That's a failure in itself. But I think if we didn't have the fire inside of us to, be motivated the next year, we knew it was our last year of having all 5 starters together. I think that's what really drove us, to get to the Final Four, reach the national championship, and really just believe in ourselves.
How much better do you think y'all will be this year compared to what we saw last year? 31-7 last year, 15-3 in the conference. I mean, how much better are you going to be this year in your eyes?
I think we can be undefeated. Undefeated. That's what they want. Undefeated. The goal is always to be undefeated. But no, I think, Coach Bluter always has really, really great teams. And that's what's so amazing about her is this program has been really good before I got here. And it's going to be different. It's not going to be exactly like it was last year. And that's what makes every team every year so unique. And that's what's so fun for me. It's such a challenge. We lose 2 starters who are really, really great and gave a lot to our program. Monica Sonano has been absolutely amazing. I know a lot of you probably love her. McKenna Warnock, tremendous. So I think it's different, and that's what's going to make it so fun. But you're not going to see a season like this probably for a really long time. Playing in front of 15,000 people every single night, unheard of in women's basketball. When we go on the road, it's going to be really hard to get a ticket. Playing in front of 50,000 people in Kinnick Stadium, never been done before, another record. So it's going to be another historic season, really, simply put.
With that level of success comes a lot of responsibility. And one of the things, as you travel this country, somebody like me is looking at you. I've called you the female Steph Curry. I've said that many, many times, right? And when I talk about you, I talk about your greatness as a player. But people who know you talk about your greatness as a person. And especially when they talk about you and how you've really, really been on this mission to influence a lot of young lives, particularly a lot of young lives in regards to females. I want you to speak to that for a second, and what kind of responsibility are you so willing to embrace, and why are you that way? A lot of people might run from that responsibility.
I think
you never have.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, I feel like I was just that young girl that dreamed of being in this moment. Maya Moore was my favorite player growing up. She played for the Minnesota Lynx, and not only was she a great basketball player, she was a great individual, and she could score the basketball really well. That's another reason I really liked her. Right. But yeah, I feel like I was just in their shoes. I was that young girl that dreamed of being on this stage and, being able to be a role model. I feel like a normal person. I'm always going to take 5 seconds and take a picture with somebody, take an autograph with somebody. I feel like that's kind of my duty, but also people like to say I'm the face of college basketball, women's college basketball. That's something I embrace, something that's special to me. And if I can continue to move the game forward, not only basketball, but women's sports in general.
Right. Do you ever worry? Last question. I know you take pictures with anybody. Do you guard yourself against signing those autographs? Couldn't mess with your hand. Couldn't mess with your shooting hand.
No, it's all good. Okay. It's all good.
I'm just checking.
I'll sign one for you.
I'll take it.
So, Caitlin, I want to ask Stephen A. some questions, and I want you guys to get to know him a little more, his story, his own personal story. But I'll ask you one first. And, I mean, you really are, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I mean, the culture of Iowa, the way the people are here, the emotion, the passion from President Wilson on down, the way they treat people, the organization they run. Before this is all said and done for your career, Steph Curry may be the male version of Caitlin Clark. Let's be clear about that. But I want to ask you, how are you approaching the year in terms of life, not just the basketball? I mean, if this is your last year, tell us how you're going through your day-to-day here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I'm trying to soak in every single second. I don't want to leave this place with any regrets, because there's not going to be another moment in my life where I'm sitting on stage with Stephen A., Mark, and all of you. It's packed all the way out there. So this is really special for me, and I mean, this is my home state. It's something I'm super passionate about. Whenever I decide to go, it's going to be hard to leave, but I'll be sure to always come back and enjoy this. So, I'm really lucky that all of you support women's basketball in the way that you do. It's really special to us, and it means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you. Seize the moment. Seize the moment. So I'll tell you now, and then we'll talk about Steve. Obviously, I think you all know Stephen A. is buying drinks at the airliner after this for everybody, so get stuffed in there. But we're going to have to stuff in there. We're going to be really tight, but it's going to be worth it. Stephen A., obviously, I don't need to give you his stats. This is the biggest personality in all of sports, television, journalism, and broadcasting. Period. End of story. Big social, big podcast, First Take, Mr. NBA. Coming off of a couple weeks here, he's just interviewed Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball, the commissioner. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, is coming up. Roger Goodell was just on. I mean, hey, come on now. All names in sports, it's his job to track him down and ask the tough question. My question to you is, man, you started really, well, you can tell your own story, but we found you when you were just a newspaper reporter, a columnist, if you will, Philadelphia, doing some work on Fox. Tell everybody, these are all aspiring students in the world of business. Tell everybody about your journey.
Well, you know, when I was young, I had dyslexia and I got left back, and then after that I overcame it and marched my way through school and through college, and then ultimately I was on a basketball scholarship, cracked my kneecap in half my very first year there, and that's what happened. And then after that I got into the business of journalism. But to bring up him, in 2003 I had an audition with ESPN, and when I had the audition, I got interviewed by 18 different people because they called me up for an audition. And one of the producers said to me, well, you're working at Fox that time, and you know, you're the big fish in the little pond. How are you gonna feel? You're the big fish in the little pond. How are you gonna feel about being a little fish in the big pond if you came here? And I said, no disrespect, but I'm not gonna be a little fish in anybody's pond. You know? I said, turn on the camera, move out the way, and watch me do what I do. I did an audition for 20 minutes, and on my ride home from Bristol, Connecticut, 2 hours away to New York, halfway there, my agent called and said, congratulations, we just agreed to a 3-year deal with ESPN. Mark Shapiro, running ESPN at the time, called it the greatest audition he had ever seen, hired me on the spot. A year and a half later, he was a visionary and gave me my own talk show, quite frankly, which was on ESPN2, and my career just took off from there.
You know, I'll tell you, one thing you'll know about Stephen A., what you see is what you get, obviously. But he grinds like nobody's business. He works his ass off day in and day out, and that's what gets him ahead. He's chasing all the time. And that's obviously what Caitlin does, and that's obviously what you need to do to get ahead in life. I'll let everybody know here, when he did the interviews to get on ESPN, 18 interviews, and we came back to get the scores, every single one of the 18 people said, don't hire him. Over 18. And I had never seen anybody score that high one way or the other, so I knew we had a star here.
The beauty of covering sports is that you're surrounded by greatness. People who are great show you how to be great. They remind you of the sacrifice. They remind you of the journey. They let you know, Caitlin here, the finish line, that it doesn't stop. Last year was last year, this year is this year, next year and the year after and the year after. And even if you win the championship, which I believe you will, the bottom line is this. The bottom line is this. The minute it's over, you'll enjoy it for a little while, and then the mission begins all over again. And when you're surrounded by people who achieve great things, and that's what they teach you, you know you don't belong in their presence unless you have that same kind of mentality when it comes to what you're doing. And so for me, I strive to be the best. It's just that simple. Whether I fail or not, I strive to be the best. You go for it.
The last question here, and then we got everybody's got busy schedules, and we got a great concert to have and a big homecoming weekend to have. Stephen A., you spent a day here. This is your first time ever in the state of Iowa, let alone Iowa City. And so I would like you to tell everybody what you experienced today. What did you see?
Let's go. Come on.
Great sports town, great campus, phenomenal campus. I love the fact that y'all support y'all squad, but I'm a fan of hers. She is the reason I'm in Iowa City, and she is the reason I'll be back to Iowa City. It's just that simple.
Everybody have a great homecoming. Thank you. God bless.